It's not very far. It's just that there are no roads.
Right. That's the part of the dilemma. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a you're going like 20 miles an hour
Right.
maximum, and just over dirt roads and
Yeah.
sand and stuff and whatever, going drive across creeks and things. Not very many creeks, dry creek, but it's Mongolia, very dry. But it's a really neat site. It's hidden away. This site is from the Xiongnu period,
Okay.
which is 2000. I mean, the samples that we've carbon-14 dated are just about 2,000 years old.
Wow.
But the the cultural complex, the culture that it comes to is the Xiongnu, and they date from around 300 BCE to around 200 CE. Like, we have the same culture. The name and the I believe families of the Xiongnu last into 500-600 CE.
Holy cow!
So
Do we have any writing?
no, they were apparently illiterate.
Oh.
The Xiongnu.
Okay.
So we don't have any writing of their own. We
Okay.
have a lot of stuff in Chinese.
Okay.
So,
So outside source material, but not anything from the inside. From
No,
them.
we don't
Okay.
have any
Okay.
writing.
Okay. And what type of samples do we have?
well, I have the two petrous bones
Right.
and a bunch of ribs,
Okay.
and a total of 11 samples. And the interesting thing about this site and these samples is this site has over 60 of basically the Imperial tombs.
No way.
And there are no burial sites anywhere that have been found that come even close.
Okay.
And these are the Imperial tombs, which are basically they're like elevated
Okay.
about. They were probably about this tall, about 3 feet off the ground originally, maybe 5 feet off the ground, something like that, a meter and a half tall.
Okay.
Rectangular-ish or trapezoidal, whatever.
Okay.
Often they're referred to as terraced.
Okay.
So they're like little
Yeah.
terrace tombs.
Okay.
Those are the super elites. Those are like
Okay.
the Imperial.
The Imperial families.
Families,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And there are hundreds and hundreds of other burials.
Okay.
Just hundreds of them. Like,
Yeah.
we don't even know. They last count was over 500 in the
Holy
area.
smokes.
Yeah, and just like in the general area, the actual burial, like that particular valley had, I think, had a couple hundred.
Wow.
But
And these aren't Imperial? Not
The-
all
no,
of them?
those
are.
are-
Okay, those are...
yeah, the
okay,
60
okay.
some
Yeah,
are Imperial.
those are the Imperial ones.
Now, the greatest thing about these Imperial
Yeah.
ones is that they weren't looted.
Really?
Every one that has been dug up outside of this place has been looted.
Okay.
They've been there for 2,000 years. They're
Yeah.
big stone things that stick out of the
Yeah.
ground. People know there are people buried in
Yeah.
there. They were obviously the rich, so
Yeah.
let's dig them up, see if they have anything cool.
Right.
These weren't looted.
Why?
And
Oh.
what?
Keep
Why?
going. I was going to ask why. Why weren't they looted?
Because it was a hidden
Wow.
area. It's really hidden. It's like
Wow.
it's further back from the water.
Mm.
It's just not really
Okay.
close to the
Okay.
water. There's a big mountain in the way,
Yeah.
and then there's some mountains behind it.
Okay.
It's like this little valley
Yeah.
inside the mountain range. You just don't see it. Yeah.
Okay.
And so it wasn't looted. It's the only one that isn't looted. So we have no data. We, as in humans on this planet,
Yeah.
have no data on the imperial lineage of the Xiongnu.
Right. And now what's the
I have
significance?
two samples
Yeah.
from the imperial lineage
Right.
of the Xiongnu. So the Xiongnu were like, they were the Nemesis of Han China. They were the Carthage the
Okay, the
Carthaginians
Carthage
to
to
Rome.
Rome. Okay, so
Yeah,
okay.
they're the Han
Right.
Carthage.
And to those
Sure.
who aren't familiar, there, could you explain to them what the whole basis behind this Han Chinese, you know,
Okay.
if you're comfortable with kind of getting
Well,
because that might help
know,
explain.
well, that'll take like 3 semesters.
Okay.
Let's try to cut it short.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Okay.
yeah, mainly the Han Chinese were they're agriculturalists.
Right.
Built cities and had agriculture, very sedentary. They wore caps and gowns,
Okay.
and the people on the steppe wore wore pants.
Mm-hmm.
That's where pants actually came from.
Really, I didn't know
The
that.
steppe. Yeah,
Okay.
the reason we invented pants is so that we would have cloth between our
Mm-hmm.
sensitive parts and the
Correct.
horses that we were riding.
Right. That would make sense.
That is
That
why
would
we
help.
have pants. Pants
Wow.
are for horse riding.
Holy smokes! I didn't think about it that way, but that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they wore pants, and they lived by stringing the bow and living on their horses.
Right.
They were the Xiongnu were pastoral nomads. They were part of the kind of post-Scythian realm. They're a part of kind of like the Scythian culture complex to some degree. There's the Scythian art style is found among the Xiongnu to some degree. There's some just slight differences,
Yeah.
but they basically post-date the Scythians by only like 100 years or so.
Okay.
So, or maybe 200 years. That we call Scythians.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So there's kind of like a cultural intermingling that you could say.
Yeah,
You could
there's
see. Okay.
There's the group right before them, before the Xiongnu. When you look at the populations of Mongolia before the Xiongnu, there were a few fairly large, like, polities of some sort,
Okay.
but there were also a lot of these smaller polities.
Okay.
Or cultures, or we don't really know
Right.
what they were, but
Right.
like things where there were like a burial culture that's found in this particular region
Right.
that's different from anywhere else.
Okay.
And there's a whole bunch of those around.
Wow.
And if you look at the genetics of these particular things,
Yeah.
each burial culture has very distinct genetics. So they're
Wow.
basically little populations of people that didn't really intermix much.
Was that self-imposed?
I don't know.
Do you think we could figure it out though? Like, okay, that's really
Maybe,
interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of what I'm interested in trying
Yeah.
to tease apart.
Yeah.
We have from the population basically right before the Xiongnu, we have this influx of basically Scythians.
Okay.
And then during the Xiongnu, we have a lot of Scythians, particularly male lineages.
Okay. So that Y chromosome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of coming into the population.
Okay. Okay.
And then after the Xiongnu, that Scythian like genetic component
Yeah.
in the population starts to kind of go down.
Okay. That's interesting.
At least that's what we see
Yeah.
from the burial
Okay.
sites.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we're not sure exactly what's going on yet. That's why
Yeah.
I do the studies
Right.
here. We don't know what the Xiongnu were. So
Right.
my point is, I'm going to see whether the Xiongnu were Scythian,
Oh wow.
or whether they were Mongol, or
Right.
whether they were Siberian,
Right.
or whatever. I can tell you right now, they weren't. They definitely weren't 100% Scythian. They were predominantly Mongoloid,
Okay.
if you want,
Mongoloid. Okay.
whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a bad term these
Right.
days, but
Right.
they look like Mongols. And
Right.
people say, well, how do you know that? They had these really huge cheekbones,
Right.
and they had if you look at their skulls, if you looked at a lot of skulls,
You start to see the
yeah,
differences.
you know the differences, and I
Right.
know the differences, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that they look Mongol.
Wow.
But we'll know precisely how Mongol they're going to be.
That's amazing. And what will that kind of change our understanding as of that area at the time?
Oh, well, I mean, the one thing is we'll know what was considered, who was considered the elite.
Right. Right.
That's important.
Right.
Also, if language tends to be correlated with your Y chromosomes,
Right.
it may suggest what language the Xiongnu spoke, since we don't actually know what they spoke.
Okay. Okay. That's wild.
Yeah, I guess that they probably spoke some Turkic language.
You think so?
I think so. Genetically, the Turks and the Mongols look virtually identical.
Okay.
And the evidence of what we have of the Xiongnu language suggests that they spoke a Turkic or Mongolic language.
Okay.
However, the Mongols, like the records of the Chinese, talk about how the people who became the Mongols are another group.
They weren't from
called the Shambi or Serbi. It was probably pronounced Serbi, but in Chinese it's currently Shambi.
Okay.
But the Serbi were the proto-Mongols, and they were not the Xiongnu.
Okay. Wait.
We know that from Chinese sources.
Right.
The Xiongnu
Okay.
basically conquered part of the Serbi
Okay.
and had some of them under them. Some of them they didn't have under them. So probably the Xiongnu were not Mongols.
Right.
But maybe they
Well,
were. It depends what you mean by Mongol.
Right.
Because technically, if you look at Mongols, a lot of their genetics is probably Turkic.
Whoa. Wait.
So
repeat that. Okay.
Well, there's Turkic and there's Turkish.
Right.
Turkish is Ottoman,
not
Anatolia.
Yeah.
Turkic is from
that's all of.
Well, it's Western Mongolia and Kazakhstan.
Yeah, that's that whole in between all the stands.
Transoxiana.
Okay.
Or was it Mahamwahar?
Yeah.
Is another word for it, which means the same as Transoxiana. But basically, Central Asia.
Yeah.
The Turks are probably, from Central Asia and Western Mongolia.
Okay.
Their genetics are so similar to Mongol. They're, that we look at, their language is different.
Right.
Very different. People say, oh, Mongolian and Turkic come from the same group. And I was like, well, if they did come from the same group, it was probably, 8,000, 10,000 years ago.
So much further back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, much further back than like the Indo-European family broke off.
Right.
I mean, when people say, well, but it was at some point they came from the same language, and I would say, yes. You know what? Language is linked to a gene that we have called the FOXP2 gene.
Right.
FOXP2 gene became fixed in our species from at least Homo heidelbergensis.
Right, really far back.
Yeah, so 700,000 years
I was
ago.
gonna say 800.
Minimum.
Minimum.
Okay. There is evidence that it goes back further, quite a bit further.
To who?
I bet the earliest occurrence of the FOXP2 gene were in Homo habilis.
Okay.
And I think that's what set Homo habilis set apart
from
the Australopithecines.
Yep.
I literally think that the FOXP2 gene is
what the main shift.
I think so.
Okay, and that's
I don't know for sure,
and that's what ends up leading us to Erectus, which is
right.
So,
well, there's a big difference between Homo habilis and Homo erectus.
Right.
And that is that Homo erectus have very long legs.
Right.
Yeah. When you take a FOXP2 gene and stick it in a mouse, they have very long legs.
Isn't that interesting? What does that tell you?
Yeah. So, I don't know for sure.
Right.
But my idea is that FOXP2 probably first mutation happened during Homo habilis. It was very important for development of complex thinking and intelligence.
Okay.
In general, it allows us to understand grammar. If you
Okay.
have a broken FOXP2,
Mm-hmm.
you do not understand grammar.
Okay.
This is why chimps, they can
Yeah.
learn a lot of words,
Right.
and they understand what a verb is, they
Mhm.
understand what a noun is, but they don't understand how to put these things together. So
Oh,
their
wow.
sentences are very like you could say food want me want, you know.
Dog want run.
Yeah,
Or- yeah,
I mean
yeah,
that they don't. Yeah, they could.
Or
figure,
dog run, probably for a
Yeah,
dog.
dog run. Yeah, dog run cat.
Yeah.
Meaning the dog's chasing the cat, or something
Right.
like that. You know, or dog chase cat, or cat
Right.
chase dog, and mean that the dog is chasing the cat.
Right.
They don't understand how sentences are put together
Right.
in that sense, but they can understand the words. They can understand
concept.
The concepts. Yeah,
But they can't put it all together like we can.
right. They don't understand grammar 'cause
And
they
become
don't
Shakespeare.
Have,
You know?
right. They can't. They don't have the FOXP2 gene that we have.
Right. Now, to correct it for everybody, FOXP2 is not just exclusive to the Homo. You know,
Well,
like-
the FOXP2 mutation
Right.
that we have
right,
is
is to us.
Us.
But all animals have a FOXP2 gene.
more or less, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
For-
insects.
yeah. I don't know.
All mammals and birds.
Right.
I
Okay.
think birds.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we've been playing around with FOXP2. We stuffed it in mice.
Yeah.
When a mouse has a human FOXP2 gene, not only do its back legs grow longer, which is actually the side effect that they did not expect,
Right.
they wanted to see if it changed their vocalizations.
Yeah.
And it did. It made their vocalizations much more complex.
Okay. Did it change like pitch and sound and things like that?
It
That's
just
so
it
amazing.
basically made them much more verbally articulate.
What about thought processes?
Well, we don't really know what FOXP2 really did to us in that way. I mean,
Okay.
it's clearly a gene that affects lots and lots of things.
Okay.
So it's really hard to say exactly what it did, but we know that it definitely has something to do with leg growth,
Right.
and it has something to do with language.
Which is really interesting how they're
Yeah.
kind of correlated in a
Yeah.
way. Not saying that it's the same causation, not saying that,
Right.
you know, it's, but
Yeah.
that is interesting.
And Homo erectus,
Right.
the early Homo erectus, we have weird mixes. Like
Okay.
I have some of the Denisova,
Yeah.
not Denisova, Diminusi,
Mhm.
the Homo erectus georgicus.
Yeah.
Anyway, from the Diminusi game
Yeah.
in Georgia, I
Yeah.
have 3 of them here and one in our collection.
Yeah.
And their skull sizes are all small. They're very early.
Right.
They're like from 1.7 million years ago.
Right.
Their skull sizes are quite small. One of which is 500, like in 30 or something. It's
Okay,
like really like a big chimp brain.
Yeah.
But most of them are close to that.
Yeah.
You know, like gorilla size brain.
Yeah. And we're talking what, you said 1.7, 1.5 million?
1.7.
Okay. 1.7 million years ago.
So, but they're called Homo erectus because they're out of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
that's the line in the sand.
Right.
And the interesting thing about the skeletons is that they're all from about the same period.
Okay.
You know, they're all
Right.
basically they may have known each other. We don't know.
Yeah.
But they're all from the same period in the same
Yeah.
place, kind of same
Yeah.
evidence. Some of them have long legs, some of them don't.
What does that mean then, Doctor? What does that mean?
I would think that means that FOXP2, some of them had one copy, some of them may have had no copies,
Okay.
and some of them may have had 2 copies,
Wow.
is my guess.
So what caused this dramatic mutation with the FOXP2 gene and
Random mutation. It randomly mutated, and it was so important for
right.
language.
Which is why
initially.
I'm curious, you know, like why would it be so? It's got to be evolutionarily necessary then. You know, like
Well,
something,
it was evolutionarily beneficial
right.
to our ancient ancestors to develop
Complex.
the ability to communicate in
Right.
very complex language.
But that didn't happen overnight, though. You
No.
know, like that must have been a long chain of mutation after mutation.
Yeah,
and
well, it
shit.
was that mutation that probably set it off.
Wow.
And there's things, of course, that have happened since then.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the most
yeah.
important one that we pretty sure that's the most important one.
Right. Right.
Going back to where languages come from.
Right.
The fact is that you're not going to have selection for complex language if complex language is not possible.
Right.
So you're not going to have selection for that FOXP2 for language right off the beginning.
Right.
What will
Right.
happen is someone will have it, that first
Right.
mutation,
Right.
and they will be able to think in very complex ways, and they will realize that no one else knows what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
But it gives them an edge. It gave them an
Right.
edge.
Evolutionarily
Yeah.
speaking, yeah.
And so when they finally had bred enough so that
Uh-huh.
enough people were, in a sense, smart enough to have a conversation.
Whoa, I never thought about it like that. Yeah. It's kind of like having an Einstein with a group of dummies.
Right.
And then one of the ladies
Yeah, they
breeds,
breeds with them, and after
and then they
a couple
have kids,
generations,
and yeah,
they
You have a-
realize
whoa.
these Einsteins can have a conversation with each other, no one else can.
whoa,
And so that's the first language.
wow.
All languages came from that one source.
Do we know
Because we
exactly
didn't
what
have
it was?
FOXP2 mutate 10
Right,
times. It happened
right.
once.
It happened one time, and this is what region of the world are we talking about here?
Almost definitely East Africa.
God, that's so insane.
I mean, theoretically, could have been South Africa.
Right.
But-
Well,
but
would it be because I thought we went? I
homophagy
thought we
South
went down and then came back up too.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you
I
got
don't know.
Khoisan off to the.
the whole thing about
western
the whole
side.
African thing is,
Yeah.
and the difference between East Africa and South Africa
Yeah.
is we have a bunch of sites down in South Africa, we have a bunch of sites in East Africa, and then we haven't looked in between.
Right. Well, the
So-
Congo is so wet. Like
It's
I'm
not
sure
in the
that-
Congo.
Okay.
It's the east edge
right,
of
right.
Africa.
Near
It's-
Kenya. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just basically once you start going south,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of countries there
Right.
that we haven't done any digging in.
Oh, is this what you were talking about a couple of years ago in class, where like there's a lot of opportunity
Yeah.
from there to there because there's so many plaplaces just haven't been looked at yet. Like
Yeah,
nobody-
that's the place.
literally.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
And
It's-
that's where the Fox
yeah.
speaks to. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere around there is probably where FOXP2 came.
Yeah.
came from. It could have been South Africa. It could have been all the way
Yeah.
up to North Africa, up to Ethiopia. But it
Yeah.
was like if you think of Africa, it was right
Right.
along there somewhere.
Right.
That's when it happened. Where it happened.
Right. Now, does that affect complex thought? So I guess let me ask this. So, which came first, complex language or complex thoughts?
Complex thoughts.
Okay. So could that have an
It
effect?
probably
on-
happened at the same time.
Okay. Like a simultaneous.
My guess is the first person who had that FOXP2 gene
Yeah.
had complex thoughts.
Oh,
But they
okay.
had no one to talk to. So
Right.
why would you have complex language?
Right. And there is no language to
Right.
express it. There's just the sounds that you use for basic
Yeah,
communication.
and you will go and you'll try to talk to your other
And they
Australopithecines,
literally can't learn it.
and they have no idea what you're doing, talking about.
They literally can't,
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
that's the thing, because the gene hasn't.
Right, they don't have the ability. They
Wow.
lack that ability. So what
Wow.
happens then is that one that can think more complexly can come up with ideas and stuff, and that the other things, just other Australopithecines
Right.
just can't come up with.
Right.
They just literally can't think complexly.
Right.
So it's able to start doing things like make more complex tools.
Right.
We know that probably made better tools, understood things better. Maybe they started working on throwing stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things that separates Homo erectus from Australopithecines is that having our postcranial, like
Yeah.
our lower body structure,
Yeah.
the way it's designed, we're really good at throwing stuff.
Right.
Monkeys and chimps suck at
Yeah.
throwing stuff. but we're really good at it. And Homo erectus basically has everything they need to be really good at throwing.
Well, they
stuff.
were like what, about like 6 feet, or
Yeah.
5'9" to 6 feet?
No, they
correct?
were 6
Yeah,
feet.
they were tall.
They were taller
really
than
tall.
us.
Yeah, they were on average taller than us.
Yes. Yeah, and their body was the same shape
Yeah,
as ours.
that's
They're
what I
just-
mean.
Their brains
They're
were a little
pretty-
smaller.
Yeah, a little bit smaller. But now, do we know about
And their
the-
faces were very robust. That's about it.
But do we know if they had like similar parts of the brain that we have? You know, from I guess that
Yeah.
psychological.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Again, but that doesn't make a huge difference.
Right. Obviously. Yeah.
You can mush them
Wow.
around a lot.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really like a certain amount of intelligence comes from the actual cranial capacity size of the brain,
Right.
but it's not all that. More studies have been suggesting very strongly that it's neural count.
Oh, that's right. The neuron. The amount of
Yeah.
neurons on it. Yeah.
So
So brain size doesn't matter that much. It's,
brain size is not as important as neural count, but of course, a really tiny brain can't have as many neurons as a really big brain.
Okay. So how do we
But a really
mathematically?
big brain doesn't have to have a lot of neurons.
Right.
Like one of the examples they have is giraffes.
Mhm.
Giraffes have brains that are like bigger than our heads.
Okay.
They're huge,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they have very few neurons, so they're kind
Oh.
of stupid.
Yeah, yeah. But why would the brain be so big? Because some animals have a very small brain, and
Yeah,
they're
like
just
raccoons.
stupid. Yeah,
The raccoons are brilliant.
right.
Yeah, raccoons have a brain about the size of a cat's,
Okay.
but they
Like a
have
grapefruit or like an orange. Is
like
that-
a plum.
Okay.
So they're pretty small,
Yeah.
maybe even smaller, apricot.
Yeah.
But they have as many neurons as a large dog. So a raccoon's about as smart as a dog. Cats, people love cats. Cats are cool. I love cats too.
Yeah.
They have a lot of very interesting programming.
Hmm.
They're not stupid,
Right.
but they have neural counts of around 350,000 or 350, I forget. Their neural count it's about 70% of a dog, 60 to 70% of a dog.
Wow.
Dogs are smarter.
Yeah.
They're just dogs.
But why do dogs act dumber than cats then? Does that have
It-
to do with the
it's
domestication?
Partially, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, you think about a wolf. Does a wolf act stupider?
No, not at
dumber
all.
than a-
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Dogs are brilliant. They can learn. Normal dogs learn about 150 words. literally
Whoa.
words. A well-trained dog can learn up to. Some people have said they can learn up to 500, but like 250 commands is not a big deal for a dog.
Really?
If you can teach your cat more than
So
10,
crazy.
10 commands,
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah,
impressed.
you're like, okay, that makes sense then. Is that what?
Mhm.
Okay, so would you say cats are more instinctual then?
Yes.
Okay, so it's more just hardwired.
They have a lot of hard wiring. And, I mean, they're not stupid.
No, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
mean to offend all the
They're-
cats out there,
Yeah,
but
cats are as smart as most monkeys.
right.
Yeah.
They're really, really
Yeah,
intelligent.
and monkeys are smart. Not
Yeah.
as much as a capuchin,
Mhm.
but capuchins are the smartest monkeys on the planet. So
Right.
whatever, they're outlier.
Yeah.
But like most monkeys, cats and monkeys are about the same. They're
Yeah.
similar size, similar brain size, similar amount of neurons.
Right.
Some monkeys probably are on average a little bit smarter, but not much, not significant.
Okay.
Most dogs are actually smarter than most monkeys.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dogs are really smart.
Yeah.
They
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. And they have a lot of other intelligence. They're really good at communicating with humans.
Yeah.
They're better at communicating with humans than they are with other dogs now.
Well, sometimes they're better with communicating with humans than humans are to other humans.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
As a companion.
Yeah,
And
yes.
like for therapy and things like. I mean, there's
Oh, yeah.
reasons why we utilize it.
Oh, yeah.
Utilize them.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
You didn't take my domestication?
No, I didn't get to take
You
it.
fool.
I know I'm a fool. I wanted to. I graduated too early.
Yeah,
I should've
actually,
taken-
I took it. I
Yeah.
just taught it
Yeah,
again, and
okay.
it's a great class
Yeah.
because it's evolving. Because what we're learning, like real time
Yeah.
about animals, is
That's
so awesome. There's so much new stuff that I teach it every 2 years. Every time I teach it, there's like 20% more material that's
Right.
just essential. It's just like, oh, we
Right.
found out all this cool stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but dogs are incredibly cool. That's like one of the reasons why I like the
Well,
Costa Rica dog
yeah,
thing. I'm like,
exactly.
oh, I want to do
Yeah,
ancient dogs.
because-
Anything with dogs, they're so cool.
Right. Now, are
Yeah.
you gonna? Do you have any like? Do we know what were they baby dogs? Like were they puppies? Were they?
One was there. One was considered definitely juvenile. One is thought to be juvenile. The other ones, they're not 100% sure. They were all small.
Okay.
So I'm not 100% sure. You can usually tell from things like fusing of the epiphyses, where the
Okay.
long bones, where long bones grow at their ends,
Oh, okay.
and then when they stop growing, the growing plate fuses to the bone and becomes a part of the bone.
Okay.
So you could look at that, and if the plate is detached, that means it's still growing.
Okay, but if it's
Yeah.
fused, then we know
Fused, it
it's
means
a
it's-
fully grown
it's-
adult.
yeah.
Okay.
It's- or
That's
at
a
least
good
it's-
telltale sign.
Yeah. I don't know how much they've done with these dogs on that,
Mhm.
but I can tell you that they're all small
Okay.
because I have dog ribs and they're this wide,
Wow.
and I know that
Yeah.
a sheep
Yeah.
is like that.
Right.
So, and I'm assuming that dog rib cages are going to be pretty similar to a sheep, but the same
Yeah.
size.
At least.
So, like a big dog will have a rib about this big.
Okay.
So if it's that big, that means
It's got to be a juvenile.
or it could be like I mean, remember Chihuahuas?
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember Chihuahuas were food dogs. They were bred for
food,
eating.
Right. To be eaten.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's possible that these dogs, what I'm looking at, are like a early food dog. And they're
Or
maybe little Chihuahuas.
what
that
if they're the reverse?
Yeah, they might be.
You know, like what if they started not wanting to eat? You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
these were very articulate, so they
right.
weren't eaten.
right. That's what I'm
So
saying. Like that's
these are different
really
little
interesting.
pets. Yeah.
Right.
But in that same vein as being tiny little, I mean, they
Yeah.
probably weren't as small as a Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Chihuahua probably had ribs that big. But, I would say that it was probably like at maximum, the big ones maybe were 20 pounds.
Okay. Okay.
20
Yeah.
pound dog.
Okay. Well, I mean that's still a decent sized small dog. you
Yeah,
know?
I would say that
Yeah.
it was the biggest ones were probably decent sized small dogs.
Okay.
The smallest ones, well, there was a couple that they're pretty sure were juveniles. Don't know about those. But
Okay.
the other one was kind of smaller, probably 15-pound dog.
Right.
That's small. It's like a big cat.
Yeah.
It's a small dog.
Yeah.
You don't get very many of the tiny dogs until very recently. Like I'm
Wow.
assuming Chihuahuas were probably this big.
A little bit bigger than they are.
Yeah.
Wow. You didn't until like what? Like
A
20?
couple hundred years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. As I would
Wow.
assume.
What led us to like? Why did we want to make the dog small? Is it just easier to eat a smaller dog, or? I know it sounds
Yes.
terrible to
No,
anybody
no,
that
no,
loves
no.
dogs, but you know.
No, actually, I mean, nobody's really talked about it, but I've thought about it.
Okay, so you have thought about what I'm asking
Yes.
you, right? Okay, so like,
Now, if you think about it this way,
yeah,
guinea pigs
right,
are food animals in
right,
Peru.
right,
A guinea pig that are bred for food are about
Yeah.
this big.
right.
What's the size of a Chihuahua?
About that big.
Why did they breed guinea pigs to be that? Guinea pigs have been domesticated for 7,000 years.
Yeah, long time.
Why did they keep them that size? Because they were the right size. That's the size they wanted.
Right, that's what they wanted.
Easy to manage.
Easy to manage.
Enough meat on them.
Enough to
Yeah.
sustain.
I would say a guinea pig is probably
Wow.
enough meat for 2 people
Yeah,
for a meal.
a decent amount of fat
Yeah.
on it for to.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they were probably
Wow.
breeding dogs to eat that were easy to manage. I mean, you don't want to have to deal with a 80-pound dog. If it knows it's going to be killed, it's going
Right.
to bite your arm.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's
I mean,
still a
Chihuahuas-
wolf. Like it's
Yeah.
still that
They
makes
could still
sense.
do
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Right.
Chihuahuas are not friendly. They
No.
bite, but they're so small that they could barely get through your skin. They're so small and weak.
Do you think they're so unfriendly because they know we used to eat them, or like somewhere in the what is it called?
I think-
Epigenetic? Is that what it is?
No.
Or
I'll tell you.
yeah.
They are so unfriendly because the Eastern dogs were not as domesticated as Western dogs.
okay.
Even Chinese dogs are not as friendly as
Really?
European dogs.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
they've done lots of studies.
I need to look into that. That's
Yeah.
so wild.
Actually, one of the few dogs that seem to be pretty friendly and still very Eastern is the Shiba Inu,
Okay.
and that's the only one I know of.
Okay.
But basically, if you think about like pet or just dogs,
Yeah.
domesticated dogs in a urban environment,
Right.
which is they've been around like that for at least 2,000, 3,000 years,
Right.
probably more. The majority of those dogs used to be what you would call village dogs,
Okay.
unowned dogs.
Oh, they're owned by the whole community.
Well, they just lived in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were probably, that's like what you have as like original dog. When you wanted, when you
Okay.
had a pet dog,
Mm-hmm.
you would go and adopt a dog from,
Mhm.
you know,
From
a wild dog.
Yeah.
You
From
just
a
go and
wild
bring
dog,
it home.
Bring it
Yeah.
home.
And
and then
raise it.
Part of the whole community.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're already domesticated.
Right.
And they're already better genetically, biologically designed to interact with us than they are with
Right.
the other dogs. So once
Right.
you take it, it goes, I got picked.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm home.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
So it would rather
Holy
be with
cow.
us than the other dogs anyway.
That's fascinating.
But that means like originally those dog breeds, the
Yeah.
regional dog breeds, were just random. Like
Wow.
their
So there was-
coloration
yeah,
and everything
yeah,
was just
yeah.
kind of randomly generated.
That makes you look at it so differently. Okay.
So what you have is you have these, you have your basically the pet dogs in Asia.
Right.
They went through domestication, but they were domesticated basically originally for the Asian dogs, mainly for work dogs.
Okay. They were working animals.
They were predominantly working animals. They don't seem to be as much of pets as you find in the West.
Right.
And one of the other things is because of that, they got to a certain point where they were like, okay, that's good enough.
Okay.
And they weren't like pushing a lot of pressure for
Okay.
selection for
Yeah.
more and more.
We
domestication.
like what you look like, and
Yeah,
you're
you're
good.
doing your job right
Perfect.
now. Yeah,
You stay the same.
right.
Wow.
And so that's what we see in Eastern dogs.
Okay.
In the West, they basically kept on looking for something different,
Right.
a little more specialized.
Right.
And they started specializing more. Some of the early kind of breed-like things, they're not
Right.
as much of a breed as you do
Right.
like the Pekingese,
Okay.
but you have things that are very similar to breeds
Okay.
in the West. The Saluki is considered a very early kind of breed.
Right.
Greyhounds also
Greyhound,
a very early
Mhm.
kind of breed. We find those in ancient Greek artwork
Okay,
all the
okay.
time. You find them in Çatalhöyük, the first city
Yeah.
ever in
Yeah.
Turkey,
Yeah.
has depictions of greyhounds.
You're joking.
No, they have
Really?
pictures of dogs that look a lot like greyhounds.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean they could have been whippets,
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah,
you know
yeah,
something
yeah.
like a greyhound.
But like a
kinda
greyhound's so
thin.
big.
Yeah, I don't know how big it was. It's
Okay.
just a picture.
Oh. Okay.
you know,
right.
but it was
Yeah.
clearly a greyhound-like dog.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like we don't really
That's
know
amazing.
how, when the breed, the greyhound, became
Right.
a
Right.
breed, other than the fact that 200 some years ago in
Right.
Britain they said, okay, that is a greyhound.
That's what we're
the
calling a
breed.
greyhound. Okay. Wow.
But before that, it was you could have been different.
Yeah.
A little bit. But they basically looked like that. They had dogs that looked like greyhounds in Çatalhöyük, which is it's like 8,000 years ago. or
Yeah.
something like that.
That's crazy.
We have 3 types of dogs in Siberia. We have sled dogs, we have hunting dogs, or they think are hunting dogs,
Yeah.
and then they have a dog that has been bred, intermixed with wolves that they think were used specifically for hunting polar bears. I don't know where they came up with that. But they do have the genetics.
Oh, that's funny.
They have these
Right.
extra large dogs.
Right.
that-
And there are extra large predators.
Yeah, that
you know.
have wolf DNA, more
Right.
wolf DNA, and they're
Right.
they're separate from
Wow.
the smaller dogs that they
Wow.
think are normal hunting dogs, and then the sled dogs, which we know are sled dogs because they're buried with paraphernalia, with gear.
Wow. Wow.
And this is
That's
nine
crazy.
9,000 years ago. 9,000 years ago.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So sled dogs could be 9,000 years old.
Oh yeah, they are.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the idea of sled dogs having, and I mean they were basically the same
Yeah.
as they are now.
Wow. Real fast. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what is your opinion on AI? What do you think is about that before we close out here?
Okay, well AI has I think has great potential.
Okay.
Kind of like genetically modified organisms.
Right.
I think that it has been handled extremely recklessly, like genetically modified organisms,
Mm-hmm.
and
Colossal.
yeah, and very recklessly and carelessly. But it's I think an important thing that we need to develop. Just like genetically modified organisms, we need to be much more careful about how we proliferate it.
Right.
Get out, and I mean, in a sense, right now it's doing wrecking havoc everywhere on a lot of things. Like, I'm unfortunately having to go back to pre-internet period ways of testing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Those papers you wrote?
Yeah.
I'm not assigning those anymore
Why?
because generative AI can write them too easily.
But how are kids gonna write papers?
I don't know. But I can't assign them because 10%, 20% of the class are going to hand in these these generatively
filled with
AI,
hyphens and all
or
that.
whatever. Even if it's made to look perfect and everything.
Yeah.
In fact, the more perfect it gets, the worse off
yeah,
it's going to be.
Right. The more AI
Yeah.
it is. Wow.
Yeah.
How is
There's
that
so much you can
affecting?
do with it.
Okay, so that started happening right at the tail end of my university
Yeah.
time period. But so how has that affected you this past year as a professor? Since I think it's been as of last month. Yeah, May 10th was when I graduated last year. So over the past year and a month, how deeply has AI affected students, teachers, all that?
Well, I know Nora Reber
Yeah.
busted a bunch of students.
Really?
We have Barbara Michaels.
Yeah, yeah.
Had to
She's
bust-
linguistics, right?
Well, she's
Yeah,
but she busted a few students for using AI.
That's crazy.
And I had reworked a lot of my writing projects
Right.
to get around AI, and it had worked, but it's gotten to the point now where AI has figured out how to break me. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I literally don't know how to assign written
Wouldn't work anymore.
because
Wow.
even if 80%, 90% of the students do it correctly,
Right. They read the book and answer the
yeah,
question.
and whatever, how can I catch that last 10% when they aren't
Right.
doing it and they're cheating?
Right.
How can I do it? I can't.
Well, don't they have things online that you can use to track if it's got the?
They don't. That's the problem. If they put
Wow.
if they somehow put in a watermark
Yeah.
on AI generated materials,
Right.
it'd be fine.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I think it's great. I think
Yeah.
that if a professor wanted to write, a researcher wanted to write an article
Yeah.
and had AI write it for them,
Yeah.
and then went over it and said, okay, yeah, basically they're using my data, they're
Yeah.
using all the right arguments, whatever, and just if they watermarked it and said this article was primarily created by whatever this generative AI
Right.
whatever and reviewed by the main author,
Right.
I'd be like, okay, that's acceptable.
Yeah. Or even just I mean
Yeah.
we do that with bibliography. I mean having
Right.
something on there to indicate
Yeah,
that AI has been
Right.
what would you even say?
I like the term watermark.
Watermark. I like
Yeah,
that.
something like
Yeah.
that. If they could do that,
Right.
then it would be okay.
Right.
But for the more advanced classes now, I don't know how to set up a, like, give people the core semester essays.
Right.
I don't know how to do it without having cheaters.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm just getting rid of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So no more papers.
No, I can't do them. What I might do is handwritten final
There you go.
exams
Yeah.
where I give them the question before the exam. Then this is basically from like 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
You know, this is what we
Right.
did.
Right.
This is what I did when I was going through grad
Yeah.
school. You get the what's it called? The prompt.
Yeah.
I give them a prompt.
Yeah.
Say, okay, these are the questions. Maybe I'll do like give you 4 questions, and when you come into class, I'll give you an option of writing 2 of the 4.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
and but you have to write them in hand in class.
Now, would you ever go back to doing handwritten papers?
No,
No, it's just
I
too
don't
much.
think so.
Too much.
Well, it's just first of all, handwritten paper, they could still have generative AI write it for you
Right.
and just write
And
down
just
what-
handwriting.
yeah.
Wow.
So if I'm not watching you do it, I can't
Wow.
be certain that you've done it yourself.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
it's a
such a.
problem.
But the sad part is that it is like evolving really fast,
Yeah.
like wicked fast.
Yeah.
You know. So, but there's benefits like we talked about. So
Yeah.
so where could you see it? Maybe okay, we've hit the really
Mhm.
negative side, especially when it comes to students, because I'm so scared all the students are just going to become dumb.
It's too late.
Okay, don't tell me that. But okay, but where can it benefit? So like, where in like your lab can it benefit? Like your research, for instance.
Well, it can't really help my research an enormous amount
Okay.
as of now. I mean, it really won't be able to because I can come up with the ideas very easily.
Okay.
The biggest thing with all research is having the person getting the data, like doing the
Right.
lab work.
Right.
If you're at Max Planck or Reich's lab at Harvard, you basically just feed it into a robot. The
Right.
robot does most of the lab work for you.
Right.
That's why they can crank stuff out so awesomely fast.
Right.
But and other people can't do that.
But that's not real science.
No, it's still science.
But is
Yeah,
it?
they're just not the ones actually like mixing the things.
Yeah.
They're having a robot do it.
Yeah.
But the questions, they're still asking the right questions.
Right.
So I mean, I understand what they do and why they do, and I think it's great. It's just the fact that it ends up screwing over people who don't have unlimited funds.
Right. Well, and also potential future science. A lot of the intro science
Yeah.
jobs were like that. Like I know, like just in the past year, it's been very difficult to find anything involved in anthropology to utilize my degree towards anything. Granted, it's just an undergrad,
Yeah.
but it's like there's not even like helping anything because a lot of it's
Yeah.
being replaced very quickly with AI.
Well, some of it is being replaced with AI. Yeah. That's definitely an issue.
Right.
But I mean, there are other issues related to it as well. AI is going to take a very long time in understanding humans
Right.
because of the fact that it's running off of a lot of propaganda
Okay.
because it runs off of what's fed into it.
Right. The training that it
Yeah.
gets. Okay.
So AI is run off of a lot of propaganda,
right.
which means it has problems. Like it has problems knowing who to cite.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It doesn't have that ability to do that, and I don't see it being able to ever get to that level.
Okay.
It can only get to, well, these people cite these people.
Oh,
But
so
if
it can,
you just,
yeah.
I mean, if you just say, okay, write me an article on this topic, it's going to pull sources from all over the place.
Right.
And even if you say only peer reviewed, it's going to be pulling quote unquote peer reviewed articles, things that
Right.
are legally, officially called peer reviewed.
Right, but a lot of
But
those are-
everyone knows, everyone who's really in
right,
the field will be like, yeah, those don't count.
yeah,
But you know, you don't know which ones don't count.
yeah, and half
You
the time
really
it just
know.
pulls the abstract. It doesn't even pull data from
Right.
the real thing.
Well, it'll eventually be able to pull the real thing.
But yeah,
But still, it's not going to be able to know whether it should be pulling the real thing.
right. Well, the abstract doesn't have the data. You know, I mean,
Right.
they include the conclusion and what the
Yeah.
intents and purposes were, but you're not getting the nuance between the introduction to the conclusion of the paper.
In
and
5
all
years, it'll be able to do that.
okay.
But the fact is that it still won't know which articles it should be citing.
Right.
Because, like, no matter what, it'll say, well, the science of this seems good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it could say.
Right.
But the fact is that that's because there's a lot of bad science out there.
Right. It
And-
could just be an Onion article.
Or something. I mean,
You
even
know,
if it's
yeah,
not, even if
yeah.
it is peer reviewed, the
Yeah.
problem is that I know a lot of peer reviewed
Mhm.
articles and journals that are not considered really real. Like,
right.
no offense to the real nutritionists out there, a few of them do exist,
Yeah.
but the vast majority of peer-reviewed nutritionist articles are garbage,
Right.
you know, are really, really bad science, if
Right.
you even want to call it science. But if you ask AI to create something, it's
It'll
going to pull
pull
that
that.
because it
Yeah.
sees it as being peer-reviewed. And even
Wow.
in those, sometimes there'll be a particular author here and there that people know who are really in it, who say,
Right.
okay, you know,
Right.
we know these guys. And again, you know, if you're a top professor and you know all this stuff, you could tell AI, okay, look for these guys' articles.
Right.
Look at it.
Right.
You could do that.
But if
But
you're
if you
not that
don't know-
person,
It's, yeah. If you don't know what not to
Yeah.
look for, it's going to find the wrong stuff.
right.
So,
Even if you don't know how to ask it the right thing either.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
so, I mean, there's that limitation it'll always have
Right. Right.
for at least, you know, for a very long time.
Do you think it'll ever get to the level of what a lot of people are afraid of, like a sentience type thing? Like I know this sounds like a stupid question, but
Like
it's like,
Ultron?
well, no, we were talking about Fox P2,
Yeah.
okay? And this thing doesn't have genes or anything like that. It's just programmed, and it can talk like we do, and it can handle complex variables. It can
Yeah.
handle complex stuff, but there's no genetics. There's no
Well, there's code.
right.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, our code is.
but
code.
what's the difference between us then and a computer?
Oh, well, I mean, huge amounts of difference.
I'm talking about just up here.
I mean, computers, they have their advantage is that they have access to a lot more data
Right.
than we have. Their disadvantage is that they're not sentient. They aren't able to basically come up with questions.
But what happens if they do? We're teaching it to train itself. I mean, isn't that what we do?
Yeah.
You know, like our bodies modify. We have mutations.
Yeah.
How do we know that that won't happen just randomly? You know, in
Well-
such a complex system like a
Yeah.
computer, like an artificial intelligence teaching itself to do new things.
Well,
Wouldn't
there's
they
a lot
evolve?
of things. Like, I'm not going to say that it will not ever develop sentience. I think it will at some
Okay.
point. What it can do is we'll have to see like what kind of hardware we decide to hook up to it.
Okay.
I mean, these are all things, in what I said, that
Right.
there are great possibilities, but I mean, we could hook it up to a nuclear bomb
Right.
and it could decide to march into our own house and blow up.
Right. Or it
You
could be
know.
an arm that
Yeah.
saves a little girl and enables her to go play baseball.
Yeah.
It's a crazy benefit.
Right.
And then you have Elon's trying to put the chips in people's heads.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so scary though, because that's going to utilize AI. So then it does have a biological component to it, right?
I don't think we're there yet. Like what they have are
Right.
some so basic. Like
Right.
a guy can like, what was it? He could command. He could play video games.
yeah.
A video game
Yeah.
with his friends.
Right. But that'll turn
Yeah.
really quickly into. Imagine when
Well,
it
I
figures out
mean-
how to make you not paralyzed anymore.
Well, I don't know how it'll, but if it does figure out how to make you not paralyzed, that's
Right.
great.
Right, and then there's that
Yeah.
benefit to it, but then you
Yeah.
have a chip in your brain that somebody can hack.
Well, yeah, but what does it like? How does it really control you? It doesn't really. It's not gonna. If it, it's not going to be a chip in the brain that tells your body to not be paralyzed. What
Okay.
it can do is it can be an AI medical program
Okay.
that figures out how to have your body regrow the neurons
Whoa.
to allow you to walk again
Whoa.
or something.
Okay.
It doesn't like it can't actually change the biology. So the brain that's playing those computer games, what it is it has basically it's hooked. That chip has hooked up your neurons, has been hooked up to your neurons.
Right.
Not that it's hooked up. How do you say? It's not going into your brain. It's your brain is going into it.
Oh.
So it can play a computer game because the person's brain has learned to send the right messages to
Okay.
the little,
The
chip,
which
that
then sends a
says-
signal out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it can't actually control anyone's brain as of
Yet.
now. Yeah, yet, but I think it's going to be like I don't know. They deal with this these ideas in
Yeah.
a anime called Ghost in the Machine.
Okay.
And it's kind of amusing. It's relatively old now.
Yeah.
But it's about it. It talks quite a lot about how like AI has like it entered these your cybernetics and stuff
Right.
and take over your
Right.
brain and things. I don't think we're anywhere close to that yet.
But humans can do that to other humans without injecting a chip at all. You can turn somebody into a psychopath by hurting them enough.
Right.
So,
But can AI hurt us enough?
I think it already is, isn't it? It's
No,
writing our
yeah.
papers for us and making us dumb.
AI is not doing that.
It's us.
Yeah.
So it's just the same story
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah, because people aren't reading history.
Right.
Yeah.
They're letting ChatGPT read history for them.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point is that
It is a human problem.
yeah, it's the human problem. It's not the computer problem. And that's why I keep, why I'm like, yeah, genetically modified organisms are really cool.
Right.
The fact that we can grow tomatoes in deserts now is really
amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put scorpion DNA in the
Yeah.
tomato, so now it's better retaining water within its cells.
Right.
What does that scorpion DNA do when we ingest it? Does it do anything to us? We don't know. They didn't do the study. That's my problem.
Wait, what? They didn't.
There's no
ask
study.
what happened. If
No, they never asked any of these questions. That's my problem with it.
But
It
wait a
might
second.
not do anything. It might
Yeah,
not
no,
do anything.
it may be harmless. You just
Yeah.
eat, I mean, you can eat a scorpion if you take its tail off. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I get it, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, we don't.
Yeah, they haven't done the study. So
Wait a second. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But also, you get
Yeah.
the GMO rice, the yellow rice. What is it with the extra nutrients in it, and that's
Yeah.
life saving
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah.
You know, so there's all these benefits and all these costs. I mean, that's life, but you
Yeah.
know, but really, it does come down to it's not even about the artificial. It's still a human thing.
Yeah, it's
Still-
the fact that maybe at some point if we let it, it could mess things up.
right,
Like it can take over
right.
if we let it.
If we let it.
And that's the problem with it, is that we easily can not let it.
Right.
It would be very hard for like an underground evil
Cabal.
Yeah,
Oh,
trying
yeah,
to
exactly.
come up with
Yeah.
some AI to take
Exactly.
over the world.
Exactly.
Because of all the like, it would have to have so many kinds of networking,
Right.
and so many different things.
Right.
Right.
Well, just the
But-
power.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about the fact that like the amount of power it takes to run like ChatGPT is insane. That's
Right.
kind of hard to hide.
Right.
You know, like it's kind of hard to hide. What would you call it? I mean, if you run it off of solar, I mean, you got to put the solar somewhere.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Like unless you're micro sealing from every grid. You know,
Yeah.
but then still, there's a pathway.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's the power. But there's
Yeah.
even like, how are you gonna hook? What's it gonna do? What are you gonna do with it? You're gonna hook it up
Right.
to what? How many self-driving vehicles are out there that actually.
Well, and a
function.
Tesla runs out after 500 miles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point is that like
Wow.
all of it comes back to, you know, unless we try to mess things up.
Which I wouldn't put it past us.
No, I definitely wouldn't. But you know, if there's a profit,
Yeah.
someone's going to try. But the fact is, it's very easy to put in safeguards. It's very easy to do the study about
Right.
scorpion DNA.
Right.
The fact that we've, you know, in our tomatoes, the fact that we haven't done it is weird, in my opinion.
Right.
But it's something that like we easily could do. We could just feed a mouse regular tomatoes without scorpion DNA,
Right.
tomatoes with scorpion DNA, and let them see what they do. And that study comes out and says, well, we've done a study, and at least in mice, we see absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, okay, well, at least you did that study. Probably it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's more likely it's going to be nothing. But you did the study. That's what's
Right.
important.
Right. It's the,
you know,
it's the, what is it, CYA? Covering your own
yeah.
behind.
Yeah. It's just like, we should just do these things. It's like the study for, was it Monsanto and Roundup and stuff. Was like, you know, we just needed someone who wasn't owned by Monsanto
to run the study.
To do the study.
Exactly.
And that's it. All you had to do. And if they do the study and actually do a non-biased study, and it comes back that actually says, yeah, we've done the study, it literally doesn't do anything to you.
Right.
If that happens, then I would be a big fan of it.
On their side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact is we don't have that study.
Well,
and the studies that we do have are now showing that it does cause cancer.
It's terrible.
It's not surprising. No. Anything that color going into you.
Yes. Probably not for the best at all. Ugh.
Yeah. But the point is that like, you know, these are all things that could be done, and people say, "Oh, well, it's speed."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's capitalism talking again.
Right.
We don't need that kind of speed.
We need quality, not quantity.
Yeah, well, we need patience and understanding and you know, compassion. And I mean, quality is fine. It's just the fact that like you need to be conscious about it. You have to be conscientious about what you're doing.
Right. You need to think about it bigger than just it being about you.
Yeah, how much money you're making.
Right. Or how much time is this going to give me? Or how much, when do I get done with this so I can go be myself? You know, like, you're not thinking about
yeah, I mean, we if we wanted to live in a better world, we could easily get it to the point where humans only had to work like 10 hours a week and everything would be covered with today's technology. The only reason we don't is because the rich want to keep us as slaves. This is the kind of stuff I'm not supposed to talk about.
Well,
but
you
know, but I mean, that's in the end, that's what it comes down to.
I remember it was you that taught me. We already did that though. What was it you said? 15 to 20,000 years ago when we were hunter-gatherers?
Oh, no.
We worked
40 hours.
What was it, like
40,000, 50,000 years ago.
15 hours a week.
The Khoisan Bushmen had the same technology that they have today.
Right.
Or had until about 10 years ago. Since nowadays they're not really part of it. But up until about 10 years ago, they lived the same way, with the same technology, in a less fruitful area. They lived in the Kalahari, not Southeast Africa, where you have a lot more stuff. And they had an average 15-hour work week.
They have a beautiful culture.
Yeah. They have egalitarian, which you don't want to talk about anymore.
Well, maybe in our next talk we will be able to. You know?
Yeah. But,
wow. Yeah. Well, I think this is probably a good place to start wrapping up here. So this was unbelievably wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Rogers, for sitting down and talking with me about your lab, what you do, how you kind of got into this world of, you know, anthropological research. How can people support what you do? And if they want to find out more information on what you're doing, where could they find your papers? I know you're on ResearchGate, but where could we find some more information? Because I know people are going to want to read more about what you're working on, especially the dogs.
Oh yeah, I don't have anything published on the dogs yet.
Right,
I will.
right. But when it does, where can we find stuff?
Well, I mean, search Leland Rogers, ancient DNA on Google, and you'll find some of my articles. I don't have a huge number of articles. One of the things about DNA studies is it takes a long time to get anything out.
Right.
But I have a couple fairly important articles now. There's like the predecessors to the Xiongnu was a polity of some sort. We have no idea what, but we call it the slab burial kind of polity. And there's basically one article on slab burial genetics.
Okay.
And that's one.
Okay.
So,
cool.
So the world, and it's cited by everybody who needs to talk about slab burials.
Okay. And then when are we looking at how could people support what you're doing here at UNCW? How can they support the lab? How can they, if they want to help bring more attention, more funding, more things like that, how could people help you out in what you're doing? Because it's amazing work. And we need that in this area right now.
Well, it's hard to say right now.
Okay.
What people can do. I mean, expressing interest is always important. Talking to your politicians, I guess, and promoting education in general will help. Again, the stuff I do, I find absolutely fascinating.
Right.
Some other people find it fascinating. Some people will argue that, well, it's not producing anything, so it's not worth anything.
Right.
And I say, okay, well, if you value stuff just because of money, then and you don't really care about history and understanding the past and understanding humans, then you're a hardcore good capitalist where you value capital over humanity.
Right.
I don't. I value humanity over capital. So, people in my position, we get paid terribly. I make fun of how little I get paid. I wouldn't say I would complain.
Right.
Because, I am doing what I think is, first of all, important for the world, and also something that I really like to do. So it's the job I'm kind of for. Would it be nice if I got paid, something closer to like what a plumber gets paid? Oh yeah, sure. I would love to make as much as a plumber.
Right.
Or an electrician.
Right. Right.
But am I going to become a plumber to make more money? No.
No.
No. Right. If you're happy being a plumber, that's awesome. I'm happy for you.
Right.
But I wouldn't be happy being a plumber. I'm happy being an ancient DNA specialist who does population genetics and anthropology in a holistic field.
I love that.
And taking all of my background of, various cultures and psychology and
English literature and Mongolian
and all that, and taking everything that's, as you probably heard me say before, that everything you learn can be brought into anthropology. Everything is a subject of anthropology except astrophysics, because we are currently not living
in space.
Really. As a joke, the point is that
even then,
and as I was saying about zoology and the fish, it's like if you're studying a little tiny fish that's absolutely no contact with humans, you could say that you're a pure zoologist and not doing anthropology.
Right.
But if you're studying salmon,
Right.
you're an anthropologist
Right.
because they have an impact on us.
Right.
We have an impact on them. It's now anthropology.
Right.
So anything that has an impact on humans or is
Right.
impacted by humans is the study of anthropology. And so I can read anything and take it and bring it in and put it
Right.
make it a part of what I do.
Well, that's part of that holistic
Yeah.
mindset towards it. It's bringing in all the pieces together.
Yeah.
So with that, what's the best advice that you could give a young Dr. Rogers today? What would you, if you saw somebody about to finish up their undergrad, maybe they've got an English lit degree, but they're interested in something like this, what would you recommend for them? What should be the next step if they want to get into something like biogenetics or getting into, say, biological anthropology, wanting to study?
They have a what level are they? Do they have a BA?
Sure, if they've got a BA, and let's say they've got a BA in English literature, just like you.
But they're interested in going into anthropology.
Right, and something like that. What advice would you give them before taking the jump?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't give advice to my ancient me
Okay, yeah,
because
that
I
makes
did what I
sense.
wanted.
Right, okay.
So I would just say go.
Go for it. Go
Yeah.
for something.
Yeah, do whatever you're doing because
I like it.
it came out.
That's awesome. I think that's
Yeah.
good advice.
And I think it's the only thing I could say without getting arrested.
No, okay. And on that note,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Dr. Rogers, for such an amazing interview. And I really appreciate you inviting us into your space. And I
No
hope that
problem.
we can do this again, maybe a part 2. And maybe after some of the research that you've
Hey,
done,
yeah,
comes
you know-
out, I would love to see a follow up on that. Would you be?
I will tell you when I get one or two of these articles published.
Definitely.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah,
They usually
course.
take like 2 years.
Yeah. But that would be a
Yeah.
good time. We've got an
Yeah.
introduction now, and now
Yeah.
we have something to look forward to.
Yeah, but that's I mean the Xiongnu study is hopefully I got to get that out as soon as possible
Right.
because if somebody else digs one up and gives it to Max Planck or Harvard,
Yeah.
they're gonna have it done in 3 weeks.
Mr. Reich.
Yeah. But
Dr. Rogers,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time today.
Oh,
and,
no problem.
I'm going to make sure that I get stuff linked down below for you, and thank you. for your
Okay.
time.
try to cut out anything that can.
I'm going to go through this like with a fine-tooth comb. all right?
Okay. So.